I think just as a rule of thumb,
Yeah,
and this is a PSA to any parents or anyone who looks after children or anyone who
yeah,
wants to have children in the future, is you have to make sure that when that child comes into their home, that
mm,
that's a safe place for them to express any and all emotion.
mm.
If a child has that and they feel safe to express their emotions, they're more likely to talk about what they're going through. I mean, I'm sure, growing up as well that like if you've done something bad, you've done something naughty, you're scared to go home.
I
Because
mean, I
you know the
mean,
consequences.
even saying something naughty and bad even justifies it a little bit. Just
Yeah,
sometimes it doesn't have to be bad or naughty, just
yeah.
doing
But like,
something.
it's that whole thing of like, if you've done something wrong and you need help with it, it's like, oh, I don't think I can go to my parents because, they're just gonna shout at me. They're just gonna tell me off. And it's like I think children need to be aware and children need to know that, actions have consequences and sometimes those consequences aren't good and they need to be, reprimanded for them. But I think if home is a place they feel so safe that they can be like, hey mom, I feel like this. And instead of them being like, no, you don't, or like whatever, being like, okay, I hear you. It's okay to feel like that. Let's explore what's happened for you to feel like that. Let's explore why you maybe feel like that. Let me give you some tools and resources to help you navigate that in the future. Because, children are literally like sponges. I really feel like sometimes people don't um realize or understand how um absorbent and how observant children and how resilient children are as well, because like, you spend the first 4 years of your life with your parents and then you're shipped off to a random place with random people that you've never met before, you've got to stick with for the next like 7 years, and you're like, what? Like, how am I meant to navigate that? And I think, the tools that you learn from home, and obviously children will hear, like, when your parents argue, they'll try and do it in hushed tones so that the kid doesn't go to school and start screaming or hitting people or whatever. But I think, yeah, just creating that really safe space for children at home to be able to just express feel freely, and also having that like, and I know this is like the more difficult part of it, because you don't want to, as a parent, you don't want to become your child's friend, because
Yeah.
well, I mean, the thing of like, you don't want your child to see you as just their friend, because at the end of the day, you're a parent. So, for example, like if your best friend, was trying to parent you, you'd be like, "What are you doing? You're my friend,
I
not my
think
mom."
I think the key word there is just as your friend, because I think I think it would go a long way if you saw your parent as your
As
friend
a
as
friend,
well.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
fully.
yeah, not just as a friend,
Yeah,
of
yeah. I
course.
think, and it's obviously trying to find that line. And I remember my mum would say to me, be like, "You can come to me as your friend, but sometimes I need to be your parent." I remember the other day as well. Like, I went out for my birthday, and I was telling my dad about like what I'd done and everything. And I remember him like laughing and joking, and then he like switched. He's like, "Right, I'm your dad now. Just to let you know, I wasn't happy when you said this. Don't do that again." And I was like, "Sick, cool." That's fine, because and I like me and my parents have gotten to that point now where we're friends, but they're my parents. Like
No, that's great.
I can tell them pretty much nearly anything and know
That's
that
good.
they'll be able to understand and see it from a point of view that isn't just like, my child's done this. And obviously there are some times, that they will all, I mean, your parents are your parents. There's always going to be a time where, especially as you get older, because they're, I guess, losing their grip on you, because it's sad when your parent, when I'm assuming, I don't have children myself, but I'm sure it's sad when like your child leaves for the last time. You're like, great, I'm not going to see them every day anymore. So obviously there's going to be things that they might say or do because they're still trying to gain control. But I think I've gotten to a good point with my mom and my dad where they're like, they'll say something. I'll be like, right, I understand you're saying this as a parent, but I'm also trying to tell you as well that at the age I am and at the stage of life that I am, no. So yeah, but I think that whole, and that took a lot of time to wake up to, because that's not going to happen from day one. And obviously, like, my parents, the way that they a lot of parents base how they parent on how they were parented. So if your parents, when they were growing up, were only told to hide their emotions and you don't really talk about emotions, why would they then do that with their own children? Because they don't, in their minds, like, that's not how you would parent. They're like, oh, I turned out fine and blah, 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 and all of this. So, but I honestly do think, in the future, one thing that I'm conscious of when, like, I'm working with young people, even when I have my own children myself, is just making sure that I am a safe person for them to be completely open and vulnerable and honest to, because without that vulnerability and without that openness, you can't help anyone.